take a look at Nigeria's manufacturing sector. We're going to have an in-depth discussion about that. Start with our export figures from those foreign trades and goods numbers. So manufacturing, as far as exports of manufactured goods, second quarter of this year, 119.5 billion naira. As far as value is concerned, it was down by 45% from the first quarter, which was about 219 billion in exports, and down by 14% versus the same quarter last year, where it was 140.3 billion naira, according to the Bureau of Statistics. Let's also look at the GDP growth for the manufacturing sector. So second quarter, 3% annualized. The first quarter was 5.89. Second quarter of last year, same period last year, 3.48. So it has slowed, but the real critical figure there is the quarter-on-quarter growth, which contracted by 15.4%. Contribution to GDP, 8.65, and that's also slowed from the first quarter of this year and also the first quarter of last year. So joining us to discuss the manufacturing sector in Nigeria is Princess Funlayo Bakare-Okeowo, who is the Managing Director and CEO of FAE Ltd. Good morning, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. It's FAE Ltd.
FAE, so not FAE. I shouldn't
not
pronounce it. FAE.
FAE Ltd. Manufacturers of envelope and the #1 manufacturer in Nigeria.
And that's why we have you here. So you are a manufacturer, you make made in Nigeria envelopes, you face all the challenges that all the manufacturers face. So can you let's talk, how would you assess Nigeria's manufacturing sector? Let's start from that.
I would say Nigerian manufacturing sector is healthy.
Okay.
And fragile.
At the same time.
At the same time.
So it's,
when I say healthy,
yeah.
Yes, it's a big market. The market is there. And when it comes to being fragile, there are lots of problems that we are facing in the manufacturer and the manufacturing sector.
Okay, so let's start. So healthy and fragile. So it's just staggering a bit. I think that's how I'll put it.
Manufacturing is not staggering. It's a big problem.
Yeah, okay, fine. So let's start with foreign exchange. As far as the illiquidity and access to FX, how is that for you and what you're doing and what the other players are doing? How you assess the FX situation?
It's a big problem. We are surviving with the combination of the CBN window and also black markets.
Okay.
Because, I mean, you need to meet deadlines of payments.
Okay.
You need to, when it comes to your reorder level, it's longer now.
Yeah.
So that's the more reason. And for integrity's sake, you need to build up integrity in the market.
Right.
So that's the more reason you should pay us at when due. And no matter what it is, you have to fall back to the black market
because if you're
to
not
cover up.
What about, so about now that there's a disparity, right? So official rate 430 something, black market rate has now gone to 700. Is there an impact on profits if you have to now, obvious question, but I still have to throw it to you. Is there an impact on your profits if you have to source?
Yeah, it's very, very, you know, it's a serious problem in the sense that the markets too, they are not even ready to absorb this increment. So government just has to sort this gap out.
By making it a single exchange rate.
Making it a single exchange rate, one.
Yeah.
And apart from that, because if you say making it a single exchange rate, and and they now make it a single exchange rate of 700 naira,
oh dear,
we don't want that. We want it to be reasonable.
Okay.
Moreover, now that we are going into AFCTA, you have other African countries that are competing with us.
Right.
I mean, yes, we are giants of Africa.
We are.
But we need to stay at that level.
Yes.
Being the giant, or else other ECOWAS countries will sell cheaper than Nigerian country.
I'm glad you mentioned this. Okay, so let's just jump ahead. Are you encouraged by the AFCFTA as far as the markets that opens up for you? So it's like selling your envelopes in Gambia and Cote d'Ivoire. And how encouraged are you with the AFCFTA?
Will I say,
You don't
yes,
sound like, are you? Okay.
I'm encouraged,
Yeah.
but discouraged because of the pricing.
Okay.
Are we able to compete?
Okay. Okay.
We are not able to compete.
Yeah.
We are able to compete quality-wise because we do fantastic quality products.
Right. That's you're talking about the manufacturing sector across Nigeria.
Manufacturing sector across.
Yeah.
We do fantastic quality. But when it comes to being competitive in the market,
Yeah.
we are not there, my dear.
Okay.
Because cost of manufacturing is getting higher and higher every day.
Wow. Okay, so since you mentioned costs, we've talked about FX costs. Power. We'd like to get your thoughts on, you've seen where diesel prices are and what they mean for keeping your, companies running and so on and so forth. How much of a headache is that as far as power?
Serious, very serious headache.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why production costs, it's very, very high. Because the power is not there.
Right.
For crying out loud. And apart from that, look at the gap of diesel from 300 naira.
Right.
Yeah, 300 naira
Yeah.
to now 700, 800
Right.
naira. It's almost 3 times
Right.
the price.
Yeah.
And a lot of everybody wants to run business with profitability, but a lot of businesses, both corporate and even individual, they are not ready to accept that cost. So it's a cankerworm that has to be dealt with ASAP.
Do you have you've obviously, so looking at costs and profits, if your costs go up, theoretically, you say you pass those increases down to the consumer. Are manufacturers boxed in to where they don't have the freedom to pass on those massive increases to consumers? So your envelopes now, if you had to jack up your envelope prices by 3 times the amount because diesel has gone up by 3 times, do you have the room to do that, or you're not able to do that because you scare customers away? I mean, where's the room to pass those costs?
There is no room to pass the cost, and that is why you see a lot of factories closing down every day.
Yeah.
Because there's no way we just have to pass it to the consumer.
Yeah.
And it will get to a stage that customer will stop buying. And the moment they stop buying, the factory closed down.
Right. Wow.
So that is the reason why I don't want to repeat myself.
Yeah.
It's becoming a cankerworm that has to be addressed ASAP.
Okay, can you talk to us about paper mills? Do you source your paper here as far as for the envelopes? So how does that work? Do we have, because we've got trees, we've got materials that should be able to make these things. We used to have a healthy amount of paper mills across the country. You would be the best person to answer that question. So what's that like as far as the manufacturing of envelopes and so on and so forth?
Well, there are a lot of problems in the paper industry.
Yeah.
90% of printers, publishers, envelope manufacturers, everybody in that value chain, 90% brings in the paper
from overseas.
So we are better off having a functional paper mill here, right in Nigeria, and also having a paper research institute, so that, because if you look at it, years back, the paper mills that we have, well, that maybe about 3. Then the gestation period is about 12 years, but now nobody is ready to invest and wait for 12 years to get return on their investments.
That is almost as long as
palm
oil. We had a palm oil gas. The gestation for palm oil after you plant the seeds, 13 years.
Yes. So now we have other species. That is just 6 months.
Okay.
So the paper mill is a very, very attractive industry, waiting to be tapped. I'll call it our black oil.
Okay.
Waiting to be tapped for investors to have a serious thinking to invest in the industry.
Fantastic. Every time we talk about fuel subsidies, everyone talks about the alternative where the money could go. If fuel subsidies, if what's being spent, assuming government was to channel that to manufacturing, would it provide a huge boost?
My dear, it will be the biggest present the government can give the sector, because the government will even be helping themselves
on taxes, right? That they collect.
Apart from taxes, on even income,
right?
Even income, because manufacturing is the bedrock of every economy. Look at the population of China.
Right.
The Chinese government made up their mind to revive and make sure their economy works.
Right.
You can see they encourage manufacturers, and when they encourage manufacturers, you can see China has become the beautiful bride of every country all over the whole world. And India too has followed the suit. So Nigeria should copy all these countries and encourage manufacturers, because they are the bedrock of every economy.
Don't want to get into politics, no, you don't want to mention any names, but whoever who runs the country next year, is it your hope that they prioritize manufacturing, make it at the top of their agenda to boost the sector, whoever leadership is next year?
Thank God you mentioned I don't want to be partisan.
Of course.
But whoever becomes the president of this country come 2023 should his or her priority, because I want a woman to become the president. He or she, the priority should be looking at the manufacturing sector, because that's the only way that this economy can grow. Inflow of foreign exchange, and even up to the organizer on the road, because for crying out loud, as an envelope manufacturer, for example, I use foreign machines, and I'm sure that most manufacturers too use 90% of manufacturers use foreign machine. So it's not as if whatever they are doing abroad is fantastic. We all brought their machines here, but it's because of the problem that the manufacturing sector is having. That is why everything is not growing. I'll still go back to the being a fragile sector. So that's the more reason that government should really look at the manufacturing sector, because it takes the grace of God to be a manufacturer.
I can imagine.
Because I mean, if you are a businessman, if you are selling this laptop, you can, if there's a problem in the laptop sector, you can switch to be selling tables. But as a manufacturer, as an industrialist, you have passion for manufacturing before you go into it. I, for example, if I enter my factory in the morning and the sound of the machine gets you going, internal joy. So I have passion when it comes to manufacturing.
Lovely to hear. Less than a minute to go. Nigeria's high import bill. It's been said we like foreign products way too much. You've already said the manufacturing sector makes quality products. Do you think that if you had power, if you had access to foreign exchange, that we're able to boost manufacturing, that Nigerians would patronize more locally made goods and reduce our import? Do you think that would be the case, all things being equal?
I'll give you a very good example. I'm not trying to promote any company. Let's take Kellogg's, for example.
The cereal makers.
The cereal makers. When you look at years back, imported, there's inflow of a lot of Kellogg's products. But Kellogg's is now made in Nigeria here. And a lot of people, my grandkids, they eat a lot of Nigerian Kellogg's flakes. So it's because government has not encouraged manufacturers. That's the reason why we are having what we are having now. I mean, give us the enabling environment, and see the miracles
just
we will
boom.
perform, and everybody will always patronize Nigeria. And I also say buy Nigeria, help the industrial sector to grow.
Fantastic. We'll end it on that.
And buy FAE too.
Certainly as well. Princess Funlayo Bakare-Okeowo, thank you so much. MD, CEO of FAE Ltd. Thank you so much for joining us.
So
fantastic
much.
Conversation on the manufacturing.